Okay, welcome to Stampscaping 101. My name is Kevin, and I was just going through some magazines that I had, waiting to be kind of sorted, and I came across this issue that was really influential on me at a certain time. It's from the August 1999 year. And I've always kept it because I always loved this article and kind of what it was about. I've always liked taking photos of people before. And this really kind of spelled out some real specific, I don't know, points on positioning subject matter within, in this case, it's landscapes, okay? But here's the article right here. Why and how pros put people in their landscapes, okay? And there's a lot of quotes from these photographers in here, and I'll read some of them, but well, I thought we'd look at some visuals in here too. But look at this landscape right here. And you can see these figures here in the foreground, but if you take those people away, it's a nice photo, isn't it? But when you put those people in there, just those silhouettes like that, not really too much information about them, you know, being that they're all in silhouette, but it really does, I don't know, give, for me, kind of context and scale maybe to the landscape. It's something that we can relate to in terms of proportions by having them in there. Let's see what this quote says. It says, "I strongly believe that the presence of people in a landscape photograph, if done in a manner that is not a visual cliché, brings enormous life and accessibility to the image." Gordon Wiltsey. So, he's talking about, he doesn't want to get, like, too cliche, like maybe having someone, at the top of a summit or something like that with their arms up or something like that, or, something too silly, but, I don't know, is this one of his photos right here? Probably. But just those two people in there, that really kind of sets the foundation for me as far as the composition goes. Let's take a look at this one. Beautiful photograph. I love the colors of this one right here. This is probably still back in the day of film too, so. But look at this. This is like taken in some kind of cave, and just that alone would, there would be kind of an element of, abstraction. But you put the character in there, and that strong silhouette, I don't know, it sets the mood for me. Like this person is sitting in there and gazing at the wonders of this location probably, but look how powerful that silhouette in there makes this. Otherwise, if you take that character out of there, that figure, and looking at it, I would have no idea what I was looking at. It almost looks like an island or something from, way above, or some kind of I don't know what it would be, if, without that in there. I'm talking about upon first glance, I can see it there, there's some water in here, so it's just so glary. But let's see what that looks like there. But anyways, let's see what they have here. It says, in this quote by Raymond Geeman, correct placement of the human figure provides your composition with a point of focus, giving the viewer's eye a place to land. And it certainly does in this one, doesn't it? Look at this beautiful shot right here. You take that out of there, and the composition really kind of tumbles without something, in the foreground, doesn't it? And again, you have these two figures in this boat, but this boat is leading into the photograph that way, you see? So it gives it kind of your eye kind of a visual direction, We kind of look at right here, eye falls on that, and then it leads us into this scene right here. And that's the same thing with this one right here. These two characters right here are aiming in this direction. You wouldn't want them looking out that way. If they were looking out that way, you'd move the composition over this way, and they would lead you into the well, in this case, a photograph. But you know, and stamping it would be, you know, the scene or whatever. Well, I guess this is a scene too, but anyway, you see how that works right there in terms of the composition? And this quote right here by Melford Taylor says, "Serendipity is at the heart of most good photographs, including landscapes with people." All right, look at this photo right here. Now normally, you know, if there's a mountain or something like that, people would take this shot from way up there. I'll show you what this is here. I don't know if you can see, but see those people in that kind of raft right there? But here, he's composed it, or she, Maria Stenzel, if she's composed this, I guess that's her photograph, but look at this. It's mostly the reflection, right? Because that's what this photograph's about. Now, without those people in there, you know, it would be an interesting photograph, you know, to zoom out and you would have this mirrored, you know, kind of reflection. But you put those people in there like that, it really does give, I don't know, kind of a visual anchor and scale. And plus, this area in here that's kind of blank, you know, we have that area in there that's kind of different. There's different colors in it, and it kind of breaks up that otherwise just, you know, kind of otherwise, what otherwise could be kind of more of an abstract kind of shape in there, just that dark area. So she's definitely, I'm sure she probably took some photographs of it, you know, kind of leading into this direction right here. And then everything's sloping this way, you see, and you can kind of assume that it's doing the same thing up here, but you get these people and they're going this way right here. So she probably took photographs of them here, here, and here. But over here, it would be kind of, you know, a little bit obscured by that shape and the lighting in the background right there. But you put those people in there, and it really provides some really good context. We know kind of, we have a better idea of, you know, kind of the distance from which, you know, we're looking at, and the scale of those trees, and, you know, a little bit more about that mountain in the background right there in darkness. Okay. And what she said was here, when photographs are manipulated with filters, the viewer is no longer seeing reality, but a souped-up version of reality. Well, that was back in film, you know, back before digital post-production and stuff like that, so I don't know, that really doesn't have anything to do with the people, but, you know, I don't know. I love this photograph right here. And right here, the cover story, the cover photograph right here. Look how beautiful that would be, but you take that person out of there, and it's a nice landscape photograph, but you put that person in there, and again, look at their position right here. They're placed off to the side a little bit left of center, and this person is with this camera looking up into this area right here, so we have the majesty of it all. But we put this person right there with the camera of it, and it provides that kind of extra context and grandeur, maybe. You know, it's something to be photographed, so we're taking a photograph of someone taking a photograph in there. But it's a figure right here, kind of aimed in that direction, you know, off to the side, looking out at the thing that we're supposed to be looking at, and that's kind of admiring this, probably, I don't know, they call it the golden hour. It's when the colors start to turn. But let's see. Raymond Gehman. A human figure adds depth and scale to a flat scene. So that certainly does right there, doesn't it? And look how, you know, dramatic, how much more dramatic this scene becomes. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, you have to put a figure in every scene that you do, or that a figure would improve every scene, but I've pulled out some of the scenes that I've been doing for these lessons, and, you know, well, let's just take a look at some of them, okay? Now this one right here is this foggy, misty morning, and if I take that out of there, you know, it's kind of like a stage without its star, isn't it? there's really no context. I don't know how large these trees are supposed to be. You know, it could be, this could be worm's eye view of some, I don't know, watery area or little pond or something like that. But you put the figure in there, and it suddenly becomes the focal point of the entire scene, and we know the scale of those trees. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Oh, let me just go through here, you know, these quickly here. There's that same solo canoeist. I like that one because it's really small and kind of silhouette. I can use it anywhere. There's the kayaker, the side view of the kayaker. And this lake. There's that grouping of horseback riders from Viva Las Vegas stamps. I believe on this lesson I have the, I might have the link to those riders on their website, otherwise you have to really look through, I don't know, I must look through dozens and dozens of pages of their stamps, and which isn't a bad thing to do, because it's fun, but to go direct there, you know, but you take that out of there and, you know, it's a good landscape scene or whatever. I could have put an animal back there and it would have changed the spirit of it, but I had that stamp and I wanted to work a scene around that stamp, so. Hiker and Child series right here. You take those Hiker and Childs out of there and it really changes the you know, kind of the spirit, you might say, of these three scenes. I had another one too, but in this series right here. But you can see we're just the smallest of things, you know, within you know, the greater context of the landscape really becomes the subject of the scene, right? Because it's something that we can relate to and whatnot. If I put a tree there, not so much. Okay, well, canoeist. Oh, here's the other Hiker and Child piece right here. I mean, this looks okay too, you know. The birds suddenly become the focal point though, but right. But these people right here, kind of aiming, going in that direction, it leads right into this area right here. You know, the main, I don't know, landscape subject. This buck down here doesn't have to be a person, but if you put a living thing in there, right, what does your eye go right to? It'll go right to that, you know, creature in there. Solo canoeist. Oh, I was going to stamp something in here. Here's the kayaker again. The buck. See how I've aimed it? I didn't have it going off this direction. It's kind of aiming in here, so it's kind of like a visual assist going back to this cabin right here. The scene, the landscape itself is really about the cabin, right? But you put that that elk or whatever in there, kind of aiming back in there, and your eye goes right to it, and then it goes like that. That's kind of the visual path, scenic path of that scene. This is on matte paper here too. I did that technique of the color edition, you know, color layering on matte paper here. So this is shiny, this is not. So you can also do that color layering on matte paper as well. Alright, hikers, background, take that out of there. It's really kind of missing something. It looks okay, you know, and just having some trees in here, some trees in the background would be fine, but you put those hikers in there, and it really changes the spirit of that. Here's one of the later, most recent scenes that I did. There's a beautiful kind of a sunset on the lake. Put that in there, and where's your eye go right to? Just this small little thing within this entire, the context of the scene really becomes the focal point. For me, the scene was really technique-wise, it was about lighting, but visually, you know, if I was to just look at this, my eye would go straight in here. But again, if the character is kind of aiming a certain way, I put them off to the side, looking into the scene. If he was facing the other way, I would put him over here, kind of leading in, you know, the viewer's eye in this way. Okay? This little boat right here. Here's a half-page scene, and you put that little fishing boat right in there, and, you know, where does your eye go right to? I really like that solo canoeist, as you can see in water scenes. The old man and dog. It's just a stamp sketching scene that I did. I always wanted to finish this one off. I haven't gotten around to it. Maybe I'll leave this one out to finish with some color. But I was kind of excited about working on that one. Another half-page scene right here. This is with the boating fisherman right here. It would be kind of about, you know, fireflies flying around everywhere, but you put them in there and it's fishermen, you know, amidst, you know, field of fireflies. This one right here is from 100 Proof Press, but look at this, you know, take this character out of there and what do we have, you know, kind of a nice textural surface and kind of exciting as far as the, you know, the surface goes, but compositionally, without some kind of subject matter like that, it's really lacking something, isn't it? Put that character in there and boom, it changes the power completely of the piece. Wildlife, you know, these are just some recent scenes in here, and you take out that wildlife in there, and, you know, I mean, it's okay. I mean, a quote or something like that would be nice. Quote down here would be nice, but a quote and those creatures, maybe it's extra nice, okay? Now this one right here, I did have this bug facing out that way because I had all the movement kind of facing out that way, you know, everything's kind of leaning that way. So I kind of placed them off over to the side like that. It just, I don't know, it wouldn't look really good over this way in this case, but yeah, this, I had kind of this funneling idea because I wanted there to be an kind of this idea of wind kind of moving this way, you know, like it was really super cold. And the other one, the stamps, sketchbook stamping, that's what I call it. But you see where my animal is? He's kind of leaning this way, so I put him on that side, kind of leading in to the scene like that, or the composition. And this one right here, here's some little birds, you know, kind of going that way, right? So I put them left of center that way, okay? And it kind of balances off this idea of the chapel kind of pointing that way. Okay, so that being said, here's a couple more stamp sketches right here that I did, I don't know, a while back. Let's just do something right here. I thought, okay, let's just add something to these things right here. I think this one right here I was talking about just, it might have been on the lesson on how to use grass, or how to, you know, do grassy fields using a couple of different stamps. Let's just add something to it. I'm not going to finish it off with color. I'll do that another time maybe, but okay. This black pad has had it. Okay, paper towel. One of the things I went over in one of my lessons was when you're stamping something that's standing in like grass or snow or something soft like that, and if they have the feet, you know, showing, be it a person or animal, I like to wipe off some of that bottom portion, because if they're standing in grass, right, you wouldn't be able to see, or if it's tall grass, really want to be able to see their feet very well. Okay, where do I want to put this? Let's put them up here on this ridge. Kind of looking into the scene. Okay, so it's standing in some tall grass. Now, these are just black and white, and then it's kind of really dark back there, but now we have some scale, right? In terms of, you know, how far back is that area? We can kind of have a good idea here because there's a lot more detail in terms of those rocks and pebbles and things like that. You know, I mean, chances are this is not, you know, 100 yards away. If it were more, those rocks would be gigantic, you know. But you put that, you know, the horseback rider right there, and we have a kind of a good idea of, you know, what distance this little ridge is, right? And plus, compositionally, it kind of, you know, leads us into the scene this way, and it really provides a kind of a visual anchor like that. And there's other things you can do. We can color this a certain way and leave that kind of illuminated back there, so it kind of spotlights that, you know, our kind of subject of focus there. Okay, another scene right here. Roads tend to be really good lead-ins in terms of the composition. So sometimes I like putting something on those roads or pathways or whatever, you know, is leading us into the composition. And let's see, I can put this character here, kind of coming around the bend maybe. Let's try that. Let me just mask off that little area of the road. Okay. I'll stamp this one. This one's called the lady on horse. This one is the horse back. I don't know. A couple horses for this demonstration right here. Okay, so here's this lady on horse trotting along that road, coming into the scene. But now we have a little bit of a context of how large this little road is. It's probably not something too big, like for, you know, double lane for cars or something like that, but single track, and probably just wide enough for this horseback rider. I don't know, maybe an ATV or something like that as well, but nothing too big, right? Anyways, stamping people or things, animals in scenes can be a really great visual device for you, and they're really fun to use. You know, you can stamp at a large scene or something of that sort, and you stamp that. It could be an 11 by 17 tabloid size scene, all right, of a great big huge landscape, right? Let's say it's of a lake with some huge, you know, 14,000 foot, you know, peaks behind it or something like that at sunset, you know, with this golden light. But I'll tell you what, if you put like a, you know, like a canoeist or something like that down in that water, that would suddenly be amidst a huge scene, you know, the focal point or of that scene. You know, the eye might wander around in there, you know, for a little bit, but if you've stamped something out that's very discernible as a person or whatnot like that, that would be the visual anchor point that you would probably land on and stay on in that entire scene. So, I don't know, they can be really powerful elements no matter how small they are amidst, you know, a greater whatever scene, context, landscape. So anyway, hope that you enjoyed this video, and I don't know, I might have to just go back and reread that article that I had from so many years ago. So thanks again for watching, and for tuning into the channel.